The modern day 9 to 5 is not really meant for guys like us. We've already been isolated. We've already been dejected and rejected by society. A lot of places we go, we're not liked. We get picked on, we get teased, we get humiliated, and we get attacked and we get targeted. So the 9 to 5 is not really conducive to our spiritual growth and survival, but we live in a world where we're forced to. We're forced to do something that we really don't want to engage in, but we don't really have any choice. And it's just, it makes this world so brutal. It makes this world so merciless. You already been through a lot of things in your life, man. Like you already went through all the things in your life that made you socially awkward, made you socially isolated. There's a reason why you locked yourself in the room for a long time, or when you could lock yourself in the room before you were forced to be, a wage servant. I just don't understand how you can have a world like this. As advanced as this world is, you have all this artificial intelligence, and yet it seems like the artificial intelligence is designed to make our lives even more brutal. Do you know how many people lost their jobs? You know how many people Amazon fired, Microsoft fired, and it's just ridiculous. Like you keep hearing on the news and different types of channels and people talking about it where different industries are losing people by the thousands. It's already hard enough to get a job. Like recently, man, I went to another interview or whatever, and it's just like, wow, these interviews are truly humiliation rituals, bruh. Like I'm sitting in the lobby waiting, right? And then you see like other people there. Some people are anxious. Some people they got a stern look on their face. Nobody wants to really talk to each other except it's always the females. It's always like a couple of females that are like talking and gossiping. Like I literally like it was brutal. I literally seen these two girls or whatever. Like kind of they were making fun of that. They were making fun of this one guy. Like they were talking about his shoes is like New Balance or whatever. I remember I wasn't trying to pay attention to them. I was kind of like on my phone or whatever because like we were in the lobby and everybody's pretty much on their phone, right? But these girls are like making fun of this one guy because like his shoes were kind of dirty. Like it wasn't like really fit for the interview, but it's not my business. I'm just gonna mind my business. I ain't gonna sit there and tease another grown man. But these girls are like looking at his shoes, laughing. They're talking about his hair. They're talking about his clothes. I'm just like, really? Like we're here to get a job. We're here. Like we're at a job interview. Why are you doing that? Why are you gossiping? That's what I'm talking about. Like, if that guy gets hired, he's gonna have to like those girls are gonna become like his coworkers and they're gonna act so fake. They may like smile in his face, or they may just be outright rude to him, but they may smile in his face and talk behind his back and try to make his life a living hell. It's brutal, I remember one time when I worked for the Conservation Corps and like we had to like do like this little trimming around one of the main buildings, like one of the main office buildings. Like we had to like cut the grass or whatever. We had to do like the trimming, got cut the bushes and all that, and you gotta like plant like these little trees or whatever. So you gotta dig the little hole, and the tree already comes like pretty much like pre-made. It's already like wrapped up in like its own little soil, like a little bag and all that stuff. And you take it out and you put it down, and then you cover it up with dirt. So we were doing that, and I finished early. That's one thing about me, bro. Even my manager at that time was like, I'm a hard worker and stuff. Because when I go to work or whatever, I'm not there to play games. I'm not there to gossip. I'm there to do my job and then get the hell out of there. But I remember I finished up early, and then this one girl, Melissa, she came up to me. She's like, what are you doing? She's like, because like I finished up and then I started like sweeping and stuff. She's like, what are you doing? We got a lot of work to do. Blah, blah. So I already finished my side. She's like, can you help me do mine? So I was like, no. I was like, no, I already finished my side. I'm just sweeping now, cleaning up my area. And then she looked at me and frowned. And you know what she did? She called the damn manager and told the manager that I was pretty much slacking off and I didn't do no work. And then he pulls up. He was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I was like, "What?" And then he puts his hand in my face, like because he's like sitting in the car, like not in my face, but he kind of like puts it up, like at me, like, "Oh, don't talk." He's like, "Just get in." And I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Don't say nothing." He's like, "Don't say nothing, just get in." And he was trying to like lecture me on like hard work and stuff. He was like, "Yeah, Melissa said that you that you were just sitting around and you weren't doing that." I was like, "No, I finished my job and I was just sweeping." He's like, "No, I don't want to hear it. You can't come up with any excuses." Blah blah blah. So I'm sitting here like, I want to go off and cuss him out, but I also need the job, and that's one of the things that made me kind of back away from the 9 to 5 and wish I would have became a rapper, because you take disrespect like that, and I don't like being disrespected by grown men like that. I don't like being talked to crazy by some manager who you're not smarter than me. You're not more intelligent than me. You're not more talented than me, and you're not articulate like me, and you're just not me. You're like, no. So so what he had me do is there's this place called Belmont Shore, in California, whatever, and like there's like these island little things like in the middle of the street, like if you drive and you see like those those street islands, like you see like the little island, like it's like a has a couple of trees, like a little sand place, and so some people use it to cross the street. So he had me go there and like pretty much pick out like all the little trash and like area, because like at that particular time it was kind of dirty. So he had me do that all by myself as quote unquote punishment. And and like that just left a sour taste in my mouth. And I wanted to cuss that girl Alyssa out, but I didn't, because I don't like that much problems, bro. But I remember that and just little stuff like that, And there's even more stuff, bro. Like I remember one time, me and the homie Shane. I haven't talked to Shane in years, man. I wonder how he's doing. But I remember one time, like our manager, his name was Jose, whatever. Our manager, he was like, I want Shane, and I want Shane, and I want Black Pill Villain. I want you guys to go down this street. And I want you guys to collect all the trash or whatever, and change the trash cans out, because that was part of our job. It was like go down these long blocks, like a mile or 2 miles, and go through each like the trash and like remove it and clean it. And we got this big old like barrel that we have to hug along. We have to go in there and switch the trash cans and then clean the outside of the trash cans. But we got like this big barrel or whatever. And if we ran out, we would call them. So me and Shane finished that. We finished it like in about hour and a half or whatever. And then we're like, damn, where the hell is Jose? Where's he at? And then so like Shane tried to call Jose. He didn't answer. So we called the homie Houston. And we like, Houston, where y'all at? Because he went with Jose. He was like, bro, we're at the park chilling. He's like, what? And we were like, what? Like, yeah, bro, we're at the park chilling. At the park. And so the whole time while we were working, they were all at the park, right? And I'll just say this. Me and Shane were the only how do I say this without making YouTube mad? We were the only people of my skin color configuration, and everybody else was Hispanic, white, and Asian, right? And I'll let you go ahead and you make of that what you will, all right? But what I'm saying is that a lot of us, we don't have those social skills, we just don't. A lot of us, we don't do well around people, because people have shown us our entire life that they don't like us. They don't want us around. They absolutely despise us. So it's like, how does this world expect somebody who's a non-functioning, mental cell or incel, whatever kind of arbitrary title you want to call us? How do you expect us to just go out into the work world and the workforce and just thrive? It just makes no sense. I think people like us, there should be some type of government assistance. Like if you've been a NEET for more than 5 years, especially a decade, like I have been, there should be some type of government assistance saying that, okay, look, we know you're mentally ill, because it's mentally ill for a man to not to work a job for 10 years and stay in his room pretty much. Like that requires some type of mental health evaluation and analyzation and a little bit of consideration, right? But in this society, they don't give a damn. Like, it's like in this society, if you don't get up every day and go to work and make money, you're going to find yourself living under a bridge somewhere, or find yourself homeless like me. And you'll be wondering why, like, how did this happen? It happened because the society focuses and prioritizes money. It prioritizes the retention of money. It prioritizes the ascension of money. It doesn't prioritize the human spirit and the human soul. And that's one thing I just dislike about this world. And what makes like working a 9-to-5 job really bad is not really the job per se. It's like usually these 9-to-5 jobs, a lot of them, they have, it's just repetition. It's kind of dull. It's kind of boring. But the main part is the people you work with. And if you work in retail, God help you if you work in retail, dealing with customers and dealing with your coworkers, that has to be absolute hell, but we don't have any choice, especially guys in my position. We need money, right? But when you work like these jobs where you have to always be around your coworkers who are always talking crap about you, who are always what I don't understand is this. I don't understand how we all get paid the same. We're all like the same level. Yet these coworkers try to micromanage you. It's like, it's bad enough you got a boss, that's on your ass about the littlest and smallest things. And then you also got to worry about your coworkers talking crap about you. And if your coworkers don't like you, man, they're going to make working a living hell. And if your boss doesn't like you, it's going to make it a living hell. And then it's like, you feel trapped because you need the money. And especially as a grown man, in your mid-30s or your mid-20s, you're going to need a job. And it doesn't matter if you like the job or not. Like, it doesn't matter, because you're going to be forced to do that because your parents eventually are going to kick you out. And you can't just be staying with like your friends or people or acquaintances forever, because eventually they're going to start asking for money, and then you're going to have to pay them. So it's like this world forces you into situations you don't want to be in. So you cannot tell me that we don't live in a loose farming, energy harvesting freaking vortex that's designed to make our lives a literal mess so it can collect the loose energy. Our negative manifestational energy, our negative emotional frequency is being harvested by the demiurge and being harvested by the archons. They put us in these situations knowing damn well it's going to cause us all type of anxiety, cause us all types of pain. Who in the right mind really wants to wake up in the morning and go to a place that's filled with strangers in order to earn some artificially created construct that really is not going to really help you when you pass away? Does it help you when you're alive? Yeah, it helps you when you're alive. It helps you keep a roof over your head. It helps you get your favorite coats, your favorite food, your video games, things of that nature. Maybe you want a lady of the night, so you get an escort and stuff like that. Yeah, it can help you do that, but at the end of the day, fundamentally and essentially, when you pass away, money's not going to be there with you. You can't take the money with you, but we spend our whole times trying to get money. We spend our whole times, like we spend our whole time doing something that we really don't want to do, but we have to do, and we're forced to do it. And especially now in this generation where I can click on YouTube and see a man make damn near $40 million just making YouTube videos. So like that automatically is like, what the fuck? If you can make $40 million, hell, if I can get 20,000 of that, making videos, making Twitch, I'll be more than happy. And then you see the Mr. Beast. You see all of these people, the Pootie Pies. You see all these people on the streaming sites. And you see like girls who are making millions of dollars showing their arse, publicly and getting all this attention and ascension. And it's like, well, what's the point of me waking up every morning, like waking up every single morning and every single day going through all this hell? Why people basically just show their behinds and their private parts on the internet and they get millions of dollars. That demoralizes us. And then plus there's really nothing to really work for. What is there to work for besides just making sure that, you keep a roof over your head and making sure you're well? Like there's no real goals. What is the goal? Okay, you work your job, you pay your bills. Okay, now what? Now what? You paid all your bills, and after you pay your bills, you got to keep going back to your job to pay more bills. Do you see the insanity of that? Like, do you see how repetitious that is? And yet nobody can call out the system. Nobody can see the clear abuse of the system. Like the system is designed to abuse you. Why can't we wake up every day and do what we love? I wake up every day and I'm in dread. I'm in terror. Every single day I'm in terror and I'm in dread. I'm like, damn, I got another day of this crap. I got another day of dealing with this bull crap. I got another day of being, isolated, devastated, annoyed, irritated, trapped in this damn matrix, this makeshift matrix, and trapped with all this hatred and all these people that don't like me. They try to attack you. They try to do this. It's just like, wow. And you got to see these people every single day. It's like, come on. Guys like us, man, we literally are not made for this. We're made for isolation. We're made for being by ourselves, because a lot of times we find peace and tranquility when we're by ourselves. You don't find peace and tranquility being around other people, being around people that are basically there to just make your life a living hell. And it shouldn't be that way. We shouldn't have to struggle as much as we struggle just to try to survive. Like, why is that even the thing? It makes no sense to me. Like, why is that even a thing? Why? How many of you guys love your job? How many of you guys can say honestly that you love waking up every single day and going to work? Or how many of you guys wake up every day and say, damn, I can't wait till I can do something else. I can't wait till something takes off for me. I can't wait so I can finally be who I was meant to be instead of being a wagey and a cagey. How does that grow our spiritual development? Like, how does that benefit us? How does it benefit you to be at a 9 to 5 besides having money so you can just pay into these systems of oppression? Think about it. How does it really benefit you besides paying bills? It benefits you because you're a grown man and you need a job. That's true. You need that. Like, 'cause there's no walking around. There's no way around that. You need a job. So yeah, you're gonna have to work. That's just his life. But I'm saying objectively, how does that really benefit us? It only benefits the handlers. It only benefits the archons, because the more we have these jobs that we don't like, the more we release negative energetic manifestational frequency, and these negative energetic emotions, they release persistently, relentlessly, and just precisely, because when you go to your job in the morning and you already feel anxious, you already feel that terror, and you get yelled at by your boss for something so arbitrary. You have your coworkers looking at you and talking crap. When you go through that, your soul releases this energy, releases this pain. And these evil archons and the demiurges, they feed off of that. The God of this world is evil, and there's no way you can sugarcoat it. No good God who wants to see you thrive is going to have you do something that you don't want for the majority of your life. Does that make any sense? This God doesn't do what he doesn't want. This God does whatever he wants, and he doesn't get in trouble for it. Like nothing happens to him. So if we're supposed to be created in the image of God, and really that's the image of the monad, not the demiurge. The demiurge is the God of the Bible. Then how come his image is being attacked? Like, why is this God attacking his own image? Why did this God create venomous snakes and poisonous creatures, or venomous creatures and poisonous plants where they can affect his image? Does that make any sense to you? It's like if you had a son, right? Why would you have your son, dropped into a lake? It's like, it makes no sense. Like, why would you take your son, your newborn son, or you take your son when he's 10 years old, 21 years old, doesn't matter his age, you just take your son, your blood, your flesh, the pure representation of you, and you put him in a harmful situation where he has to go through pain and isolation and desolation. Does that mean you're a good father? Or does that mean you're an abusive tyrant and a monster? Right? But this obsession with money in this society, like we're so obsessed with money in this society. And when you think about it, when the inflation rises, it's going to cost even more money for things. So the things that are expensive today, which we can barely afford, is going to even raise up in the future. Like, have you guys seen the prices on groceries? Like, for real. And it's like, my God. And one thing I noticed, because I went to the EBT office the other day or whatever, because I'm trying to get my food stamps. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get my EBT. You know what I mean? Like, I'm broke. I'm homeless. I'm mentally ill. I hear voices in my head. I see things from the shadow of my eyes. I go through some crazy shit in my life, man. So I need some food to eat. So as I'm at the office or whatever, like, you just see the type of people there, and it's just like, wow. Like, it's some of the most, like, down, it's like this, like, a lot of people are, like, downtrodden. A lot of people are defeated. And then even then, you still see, like, it's like this. Like, that's what I like. It's like there's beautiful girls everywhere. Like, there's always an attractive female, even in the worst of places. You could be at the EBT office, Social Security's office. You could be places like there, and you always see a beautiful female. She's either working there or she's, like, waiting in line. And it's like, oh my God, here we go. And then you always notice the men. All the men are kind of eyeing her, but everybody's not saying nothing. And it's like, Jesus Christ. But the people you see there, it's like, this is brutal. It's just like, we're all going through it. And it's only a certain type of people, right? Like, I don't see upper middle class or people that got help. Like, I don't see them there. Like, I don't see the son of a doctor or a lawyer there. I see people that were mistreated by society, that were neglected, that were rejected. Some people were on drugs. Some people deserve to be there. Not everybody in a bad position is a good person. Some people actually deserve to be in a bad position because the things that they do to people, the things that they've done. I don't believe in karma, but it's like a karma thing in a way. But I don't believe in karma, because if karma was real, then everybody in the Epstein files would be held accountable into justice. You wouldn't have had Alexander the Great. You wouldn't have had Julius Caesar. You wouldn't have had men like that if karma was real, right? And yes, I know Alexander passed away because somebody pretty much, like, poisoned him or whatever. Julius Caesar got stabbed up or whatever, but they already, like, the damage was already done. They only lost because they dropped their guard. Had they not dropped their guard, they would have been fine, right? But this world, bro, it's not like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm more of a creative person. Like, a 9 to 5 literally robs me of my joy. It literally robs me of the energy that I need to create things. It's why I wish I could make money online, like a lot of money. I'm not talking about pennies, what I mean? I'm talking about a lot of money. I'm talking about, thousands of dollars, I wish I could make that online, making thousands of dollars. And it's like the way YouTube is, it's so slow. Like it takes years, before it actually becomes anything real, right? And when it comes to like online digital assets, so like to accumulate enough of them so they can appreciate and value over time, that takes a while. Meanwhile, you got to find a job to supplement that. And then when you go through the job, you got to understand there's things that can happen to you at your job that's going to affect you. Like you can go to your job one day and get yelled at by the boss and embarrassed in front of coworkers. And for the next 3-4 months, that can be playing in your head. Hell, the next 10 years, that can be playing in your head every now and then. You have that memory. It's like a core memory. And while you're going through that at your job, being yelled at by the boss, doing these repetition tasks, there's somebody that's living their life. There's somebody that's not working a job. There's somebody making 30 grand a month selling Fortnite skins. He's not at a job. He's not at a school. He's doing what he wants to do with his life, and he's more happier than you. Meanwhile, you're trapped in misery. You're trapped in isolation. You're trapped in desolation. You're trapped in hesitation, because it's like you can't just quit your job and try to go for your dreams. Because when you quit your job and try to go for your dreams, the demiurge is watching. And the demiurge doesn't want certain people to be happy and successful. I'm one of them. I'm a type of person where the demiurge, he can't have me be successful, because if I ever had a big voice, let's say I had a channel as big as like Polly Walnuts or something like that, I'll be talking about the demiurge even more than I'm talking about it now. And I think about making videos that actually really sit down and break it down, because I'm assuming everybody knows about the Gnostic texts and the archons, but not a lot of people know, and I know how to explain it pretty well. So I may just make a whole video on that and explaining it, right? But the last time I did it on my old channel, well, we all know what happened. So that's why I kind of been hesitant. And that's why, I haven't been making no bot videos and stuff like that. People keep asking me, hey, Black Pill Villain. I'm like, please don't call me Black Pill Villain, because hell, even I do that. Even I slip up, and I call myself that too. But it's like, because that's an association and a connotation that I don't really want to be a part of. Like the people in the BP community, it's just some certain people and certain elements are just not, you don't want to be involved with people like that at all. I'm just a men's, I'm a men's mental health channel, and I speak on spiritual aspects, that we're all going through, and we all can agree that's going on. But anyway, when you're a guy like us, you may have a creative passion. You may have something that you really want to do, that you're creative about, whether it's making music, whether it's painting, whether it's having a dream to get out your mom's house. Because when you're a grown ass man, and you're stuck in a position like you're living with your parents, you're living with your grandma, you're living with your dad, you're living with your uncle, you're you're living with people, like even if it's not even if it's not even family members, when you're just living with random people, like when you have to live with random people, bro, it's a totally different thing. And one thing I noticed is like a lot of rejected men, they are either homeless, they got kicked out, they're going to get kicked out, or they live with family members that mentally and physically abuse them from time to time. That's one thing that I notice. And it's absolutely brutal. Like we just can't have our peace. We can't just find a job or something that we really like, such as like doing our own thing, finding our own passions, and then turning that into monetization, turning that into money and an accumulation of it, turning it into something that can enrich our lives. And we live in a digital age, so they say, "Oh, there's no excuse." You guys live in the internet era. It's like, what do you mean? Like most of the things that we want to make it in is saturated. Like anything that you can think of, somebody already thought about it. Somebody's already done it. Somebody's already in that position, right? Like anything you think of, they're already, like it's already been done, right? And then, like there's a religious aspect. I used to be a very religious person. So, in the religion it tells you, work hard at the job and do this, that, and this. And it's like, if you really think about it, that's just the demiurge. Like the demiurge wants you to be at a job you don't like, because the demiurge, it benefits the demiurge. He gets to have his loose energy and does his loose energy farming. It benefits him. And meanwhile, you go there thinking that you're serving the Lord by working hard and all that. It's just like, do you see how that's brainwashing? How they use religion as a form and as a storm of brainwashing. It's kind of like if you ever played Halo, if you know about the prophets in Halo, how the prophets are the religious leaders, and then the elites were the guardians before the Great Schism, and then the brutes replaced the elites' position, right? But the whole thing was like the great journey. It was like a religious thing. And then the people that found out that, you know, the prophet of truth was lying, and it wasn't the great journey, and it was just about, those halo rings were designed to eliminate all organic matter in the universe. They tried to warn the people. I feel like one of those, and then they called them the heretics. You remember, like, you guys remember Halo 2, when you play as an elite, and you got to go to that floating facility on that planet, and you got to fight the quote unquote heretic as the arbiter. I feel like that heretic because I see through the religious nonsense, and I'm here telling people and trying to wake them up and say, look, if you think I'm talking out my ass, I guarantee you something this week is going to happen to you, and it's going to be bad, and you're going to think like, how did that happen? It's not going to be the tradition. It's going to be something left wing. It's going to be something that's going to be like, man, this really pissed me off. And you're going to notice a pattern that is always happens. And it's doing it because there's beings that we can't see that are purposely making our life miserable so they can feed off our negative energy that we release when we get angry, when we get sad, when we get depressed. It's freaking true. The evidence has always been there. It's a reason why we talk about the secret Gnostic text. People look at it like it's weird. A lot of people are just there to just be they're just there just to be, arses, like they're Hylics. They have no souls themselves, so you can't expect a soulless being to get something that requires a soul. Most people in this world are evil. But you tell me this: for the last 100 years, a lot of Americans have worked hard. They have went to wars. They have, been firefighters. They've been, rescue operators. They've done all these different types of jobs, and yet the country still failed. So if hard work really mattered and all that, wouldn't we have a thriving country that's not being driven to inflation, that's not being driven to obliteration, not having a president or the beings behind the president that are causing wars, right? So even though this whole time you're working hard, the economy is still failing. The economy is still breaking, and it makes it even harder to go try to find a job because it's like you already know that the economy is going to break. We're on the brink of World War III, and you still have to go. You still have to go to work in the morning. What would be my dream is this: it's like a nuclear war happens, and then you don't have to go to work. And you don't got to go to school because what can you teach what can school teach a divine spark that was here even before the demiurge, before we got trapped here? We know everything inside of our souls, and we will learn a lot more if every time we pass away, we don't get, we don't get trapped inside the soul trap machine and get our minds and get our memories erased every time we go through a life cycle. That's strange to me. Why would a God take away your memories? Think about it. Where were you at before you were a baby? How come you can't remember? And how come this God doesn't just appear in the sky and show you that he's a loving, caring being? Why is this God just such an ass? This is just why. This is not God. And I know all you religious people want to quote the Bible, as if the Bible is just 100% truth. Is the Bible real? Now, I believe that the Bible is real, right? Now, I believe that or some things could be exaggerated or whatever, maybe, but I know about supernatural things. See, I believe in the supernatural because I experienced the supernatural, and hell, my life is supernatural, you know? So I'm not saying that the Bible is fake, but what I'm saying is the God of that Bible is an evil, wicked, twisted being, and he's not what you think he is. He's not your loving, caring father. You can read it from his own words. I, Lord, do good and evil. That's what he said. He said he does good and evil. That's not that. What? Like that right there should have your antennas raised up. But a lot of people are scared of going to hell. But it's like going to a job you don't like every single day. Is that not hell? Going to a job where you're forced to be somebody else. You get like, there's a thing I like to call the normie mask. And you may ask, well, what's the normie mask? What's that? Well, the normie mask is the mask you got to put on at work. You could be going through hell in your personal life, but you can't bring that. You can't bring that with you when you go to your job. Like you have to put on a mask. You have to smile. You have to be yes sir, no ma'am. You got to be polite. You can't say anything that can offend people, especially like women on the job. Like you can't don't even my advice, don't even think about talking to a girl that you work with. It's just not worth it, especially if you're not Chad or Tyrone. Don't even say hi unless they say hi to you. Like if they say hi to you, you say hi back. You keep it short. You don't want no type of harassment charges. You don't want anything like that because guys like us, even if you did it or not, guys like us, because how we look like, we're automatically going to be blamed for something if we even If we're just standing there and a woman doesn't like our presence, she can report that. She can say she feels uncomfortable. And if you get locked up or thrown in jail or in prison and they ask you and they check your paperwork and your paperwork is like harassing females, even if you didn't, you're gonna have a hard time in prison or a hard time in jail. So it's best just not to get yourself in that situation by just keeping to yourself at your job, doing what you have to do, avoid the gossip, avoid the nonsense, and and the thing about it is you can't be too isolated either. Like you have to find the balance because if you're too isolated and you talk to nobody at your job, you're going to be targeted. They're going to be like, well, that guy don't talk to nobody. He thinks he's better than us, or he's just. And then that's going to be people like, hey man, you never talk. Why are you so quiet? So you're going to have to talk, and then and that drains you as well. And then you do all that just so you can get paid, pennies on a dollar. And then you got to come back like they pay you enough at these jobs just to keep you coming back because you have to come back. They never pay you like you never get $1 million at a job. That's why everybody who's a millionaire, they own assets. They don't work a 9 to 5. Like they make money when they're asleep. And while they're asleep, their assets, whether it's digital assets or other assets, those assets appreciate in value as they sleep. That's where the real wealth is. People who got money understand that. They know that you have to have assets. You have to have something that you own that makes money when you're sleeping. So when you're sleeping, when you're playing Xbox, when you're wanking off, whatever you're doing, you're making money. Not physically being at a job for 8 hours every single day because that gets tiring. That gets draining. And who in their right mind, if you have a talent to rap, you got a talent to make beats, you got a talent to write books, you got a talent to speak, you got a talent for something. Why would you not want to turn that into your full-time job? That's going to make your life a lot more easier. But in this world, because of the demiurge, he doesn't want to make our lives easier. He wants to make our lives as miserable and as evil as possible so he can benefit. And I'm sick of that. I'm tired of being held back in life. I feel like I've been held back far too long in my life, meaning that I'm never allowed to do what I truly, truly want to do in this world. And I just want to make music for a living. And some of you guys said you want to see some of my books. Okay, I may have a video of that coming up, where I show you some of my books or whatever. People say be careful because people may steal it. I'm thinking no one's going to steal my books or whatever. And just like I thought, other things, and then they happen, and it's like, wow. So maybe so, but I'm such a creative person when it comes to that. You know, I just. I can just make up stuff, bro. When I was younger, this is what I used to do when I was like 21. I used to smoke some Mary Jane to the brain, and then I would just write out like story outlines, like I'll write out summaries and just write out story outlines and stuff like that. Like I really wanted it at a time. Like I really wanted to make it, bro. I really wanted to be successful, and it sucks when you know that you're probably going to be a wagey and a cagey for the rest of your days, and you never get the fame and the fortune, the money, the power, the women, the respect, the dignity, the mansions, the boats, none of that. It's brutal.